Hackmania.com, promo code WATP. We're going to be in Las Vegas May 9th through 11th. I'll be there May 8th. Come down a day early. Hang out with us. We're going to have a blast. Live podcasts. Maybe Nick or Cater will be there. We don't know. But come down. Check out Hackmania.com for more information.
Who are these podcasts? WATP.
A show hosted by Rob Saul. Let me read the description of the show according to YouTube. Join legendary podcaster and Dabbleverse villain Rob Saul as he chats with celebrities, comedians, musicians, and newsmakers. Script async src equals https://page add to googlesyndication.com/page ad/js/ads by Google.
That old chestnut.
JS !client equals ca-pub-84929413059433643 close quote. Cross origin equals anonymous. End script. I think he fucked that up. I don't think it's supposed to be in the description on YouTube. He's trying to sell
He could have just
ads.
added special skills coding instead of just showing us how well he can.
Right. I'm not sure why that's in there, but Rob's an idiot. And I think we're going to demonstrate that today. Of course, I am cheating a little bit because for the most part, this is Rob's show with Stuttering John. And they're both hammered. It's December 18th. Now, this is a Wednesday night. John has to get up early, take a flight from Fort Myers to New York. And he's getting wasted with his buddies the night before, getting into that Christmas spirit. Of course, 24 hours after what we're about to see, he'll be at a strip club with Kate Meany. And there was a show that he was on today, John's show with Vince. And I do want to look at that. I didn't pull clips, but I just have the link. I just thought we could watch it. We were doing a little bit of that on Point Dabble Point today, and it's fascinating what Vince was able to get out of John as far as him staying at Kate's house.
I could do it all day.
I know. That's what I was thinking too. When we ended Point Dabble Point, we just ended because of time restraints. Yeah. We just kept watching that. So we'll just start it back up again on here. But first, we got to talk about Rob Saul and John. And the first clip I have, John never knows anything about his friends. It's weird. Whenever he asks them questions and they answer, he's not listening. We've seen this time and time again with Clay Dabbler. He doesn't know anything about the guy. Clay will be like, I told you before, John, blah, blah, blah. And John never knows. And here's an example of John with Rob Saul not knowing anything.
All right, well, Rob, you're Catholic, right?
No, Baptist.
All right, well, that's the church my mom goes to now. So
Yeah.
I think it's time, since Blind Malik was so kind to give me $2, and he wished me a Merry Christmas, and he also wished that my plane goes down. So I think it's time to sing something cheerful.
All right. Let's do it.
So this is fun because what we're watching, if you're not watching the show, I'll just explain to you what we're seeing. So you have John and Rob are next to each other in vertical views. And then next to that is Rob horizontally, who's the same Rob as the other Rob. But this is the only way he can get his audio to work on both channels because they're simulcasting this on John's channel and on Rob's channel. Later, John leaves and it's just on Rob's channel. But it's a little bit awkward looking, and it gets even goofier when John has to bring up this video clip that he's all proud of for some reason.
Tuttering.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose.
Like a light bulb.
I can't explain how embarrassing this is because what happened was John sang this song with his buddy Hitman Dan when they were down in Florida last year, around the holidays. And then someone grabbed this and put music to it and turned it into this video. It was embarrassing when it happened. It's even more embarrassing now. And John is dancing and clapping along with that because a drunk John is most entertained by watching himself. John loves John. He can't get enough of it.
It's also sorry. It's worth pointing out that Rob Saul jumps in with the like a light bulb, except the like a light bulb actually comes after you would even say it glows. So you'll notice.
Good point. We backed that up because Rob's watched this a million times too, but he doesn't remember it as well.
So just wait till when he gets to the part where he's supposed to say like a light bulb. Yeah.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose.
Like a light bulb.
If you ever saw it, you would even say it glows.
Yeah.
Also, like my buddy Hitman then. You still have to call him names.
I like that John goes, introducing my buddy Hitman Dan. And we all know who your buddy Hitman Dan is. So we start off, they're festive, they're feeling good, they're enjoying themselves. John watches this entire video and continues to be endlessly entertained by himself.
And then the reindeers loved him, and he got out quickly.
Close.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, he'll go down in history. All right, thank you. Beautiful.
Shuli, the red-nosed Shuli. Yes.
Well, Blind Malik asked me for a little Christmas thing,
He's so smitten with himself.
What do you guys think that if you were able to, do a breathalyzer test on this John and the John in the video, what number do you think? We're going to combine the numbers. What number do you think that would possibly be? How drunk are these two Johns?
You want to combine the two, or you want to compare the two?
No, I want to combine them. I want to know if that's a triple digit, or I don't even know if that's possible.
Okay,
I think whatever number that is, it would definitely kill a mid-sized horse.
This is probably counter to what you think it would be. I think that John is on Klonopin and mixing that with alcohol. I think he's 4 light beers in, and this is how he acts.
And Dan's there, so there might be something else going on.
Well, there might be something else going on. He's probably taking an edible as well. Because John gets wasted immediately. We watched him on these streams when he used to do beer on the balcony on Saturday afternoons. We would watch him drink 4 beers, and 3 beers in, he's slurring his speech, and he's like, got the I love yous. He's all excited that his guest is there. We should do this every Saturday. You're like the best guest we've ever had on the show.
That's just before the tears start falling.
I missed that show so much. I was thinking back about when he had the writer from The Tonight Show who only had the job for 1 year.
Oh, right. And everything was hilarious to John.
Yeah. Oh, then what, they let you go? He's doing the stupid clap thing. And it's got to be so frustrating to a guy who's endlessly more entertaining and talented than John. And John kept his job, and only because Jay didn't want to give Howard Stern the satisfaction. That's why John stuck around. Also, there was that post, we read about it on Point Table Point not long ago, where one of the people who worked for The Tonight Show came out and said, we all liked John. He was endearing, and we just enjoyed him being around. He was kind of like a clownish kind of guy at the office that didn't cause any harm. He didn't provide any value.
Right.
But it was just a guy that was just like, oh, John's here. That's cool.
It's John being John.
Yeah, it's just John John thinks he's running his own show. That's neat.
And it shows by how they gave him the warm-up gig. Because, even... was it Joey Cola that was the warm-up guy?
Yep.
Explains that is not often a job done in-house. Usually the people that are working on the show are busy working on the show. What the audience does during commercial breaks is really not of consequence to the show as long as they're in a good mood. And they tend to hire people that do that gig specifically. And they're more like DJs or party MCs, that keep everyone active. The fact that they gave him that job, I know it was different. There were strikes and things happening at the time. Who knows what the actual deal was? But that's the job you give the house mascot. That's the job you give the intern who's really funny, Yeah,
I would be insulted if I'm the announcer and, then a writer and I'm doing all this stuff. And they're like, oh, so can you just get up 15 minutes before the show and get people rocking and rolling? You're like,
Yeah,
Well,
no, I'd be
no.
busy working on the show
Yeah,
with
but
the writers, and the
obviously
writers would be
not.
like, "We need him."
I'm in the writer's room. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that part of it. Could you imagine?
Adam Bush, what if I told you that to warm up a talk show and the time that John did it, you would get $2,500 per show? Does that change your plan at all? Because I'm sure it changed John's.
Oh, good point.
Oh, absolutely. It's a wonderful gig
Yeah.
and steady work, and one that anybody would take. But it's not what you would give a writer you want focusing on the
No.
next funny thing Jay is going to say.
Great point.
All right, so they're getting super chats. Both shows are getting super chats, so it's a lot of super chats going on. A lot of $2 and $1.99 super chats are going on. And this one fools John at first. He's not really sure because he can't read ahead for whatever reason, so he's not really sure where this is going.
John's intimidating dumpy runt member 2 months.
By the way, the name is John the Unintimidating Dumpy Runt. Is the name of this. And John's like, I'm not sure if this guy likes me or not. So let's see where this is going.
Hey, no, he's a good guy so far. Big fan of yours in Stern days back when you said N-word. There. So now it becomes stupid. I knew it was going to end that way.
Yeah, what was your first hint? So we read what he kind of trailed off there. Hey, SJ, big fan of yours in Stern days back when you said N-word, haha. I'm a non-binary, wienerless woman, and I find it offensive when you say pussy boy.
He trailed off at the wrong part there.
I know. It got better. He's geez, I knew it. Damn it.
He still doesn't know why. He knows it's something said not good. He knows the words in there don't feel right, but he doesn't understand if you actually read it. They're saying, hey, I'm a fan. Here's this bit you used to do. And by the way, I'm in touch with this community, and here's how I feel about it. Like, that's what they're saying. He knows it's not good. He just doesn't grasp why.
John,
and that's an ongoing theme.
Right. John doesn't want to acknowledge that pussy boy would be offensive, especially to one of his offspring.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, if I were John, I'd be like, oh, shit, I shouldn't be doing that. And I would just retire it, never mention it again. But it's in his vernacular, and it's a to-go, too.
Right.
He has a hard time not calling people pussy boys. Oh, I had an idea today. You know the song Barracuda?
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
I'm thinking of a potential parody song. Barrawoosa.
But yeah, you're right. He can't say Lady K without saying just do it.
Right.
So it's like a trigger almost.
Yeah, it's like a tick.
Yeah, tick.
Maybe he'll get a show like Balin Dupree did on TLC. All these
But in
ticks
John's
that he has.
defense, he can't really read even when he's sober. So, it's hard for him to understand what these super chatters are saying to him.
I like that it just says big fan of yours. He goes, oh, I didn't see it going this way. He was all excited at first. He's like, I got a fan. Again. Okay. All right. So now he's going to talk about the shit weigher, of course.
Listen, it seems odd to me. Hey, Solar J, why am I banned on your channel? I am. Don't doubt me. Unblock and I'll super chat you a hundy. Noga Chaser says in my chat room.
Rob, I'm just glad you could figure out how we could both make money. I mean,
we're both live, but you have.
Did you learn this from the shitware? Holy shit! Is that anti-Semitic? I'm sorry, I mean that you're always grifting, the grip personist or whatever it is, the fake viewers. Oh my God, Rob, was I anti-Semitic? I didn't.
Oh, well, anytime you don't like Shuli and you're against Shuli, yes, that's anti-Semitic.
Can we all agree that Drunk John is way more entertaining than 2 in the afternoon, John?
Yeah, he couldn't even do his little mouth trumpet thing earlier.
Oh, I have those clips. Yeah. I have those clips. He starts failing miserably at everything.
That's peak John when he can't even make that sound. Yeah.
And Rob Saul is perfect for this show format. If you're going to have someone get wasted and not be embarrassed for them, you need a just as wasted Rob Saul.
Yeah, they're trying to outdo each other in a way.
Oh, yeah. It gets... This is the beginning of the show, by the way, I should point out. This is 8 in the evening. What's going on here?
Oh, this is the pregame for them.
Right. It gets crazier. So someone tells John he's got to buy new guitar strings. I've been saying this for a while. That guitar of his It doesn't sound good. It doesn't stay in tune. I don't know that new strings would fix it, but it certainly couldn't hurt.
Now, here's the thing, Rob. I'll like this guy, don't matter. I love his name. Geddy Lee, Van Halen. I love Rush. I love Van Halen. Glad you got a tune, John. Please use the $5 to buy some new strings for your guitar. He's right. These strings are probably as old as the time I gave them to my oldest kid when he was 9. So, yeah.
So the strings are 20 years old on this guitar. I don't know how that's even possible. They're as old as the time I gave them to my oldest kid when he was 9. So he gifted this guitar.
Or just the strings.
Or just the strings. What are you going to do with those strings? You want to put them on my guitar? Sure, Dad.
By the way,
Whatever you want.
John's so unfunny that he messes up that chatter's name. It's actually a funny name, Geddy Van Halen, but he's like, Geddy Lee Van Halen. So he ruins the joke, which is Geddy Van Halen.
Yeah. But also, John goes, I like this guy because I like both Rush and Van Halen. It's like, the guy doesn't care about that. You're missing the point. Okay. So John has been talking about how he's leaving the show in January. He's got a job now. He mentioned that, I think, on the show yesterday or today. He's got this job going in January. He won't be back doing his show anymore, but there's going to be one exception. And I want to play this clip and discuss what this could possibly mean.
I'm done. Yeah. This is not a bid. It's not. Yeah. I don't plan on appearing on anywhere, anything.
Yeah.
There's one show I'm going to do, and that'll be February or March, and that's just with a good friend of mine, and it'll be one show.
That was a good friend of yours, no?
You are a good friend of mine, but it's something that I already booked.
John's going to do one show in February or March, something he's already booked. Who's booking John months out? Is this Talk Tua? What show could he possibly be talking about that he's going to be doing in February or March that he has to keep his commitment to?
I mean, look, we all hope he lives forever, okay? But there's a chance that if you do get John to say yes, that he's going to be on your show, you should book it for tomorrow. Just in case something happens.
So it's definitely not who are these broadcasters.
No, we've been declined. Yeah. But the problem is he says it's a friend.
Yes.
And who does he think is his friend? He has no actual friends. But I was trying to figure out who he thinks is his friend that he said yes, he'd do the show. It's not Pinky.
No, he wants that. He wants Pinky to pay him $3,000 again. That's why he's hoping if he goes away, he can make some bank. Adam, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought about this a lot, and I think there is no guest. I think he realizes I'm not doing the show for all of January. Yeah, I'll definitely be back at some point in February or March. And then Rob cornered him, and he just starts lying like he does, and just had to double down on that. And now it's a guest friend that had to, you called it. There is no one who's like, yeah, let me look at my schedule. Middle of March. Let's put it down. Right. You and me, John.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
That'd be the weirdest thing. Okay.
He's thinking financially. He's going to need to raise money, and he's just coming up with an excuse.
Oh, right. He's getting out in front of it. I told you I was going to come back. I told you I made
that's
a
why
commitment.
The first thing was he knew the time. He knew it would be some point a month and a half after I've stopped doing this that I'll probably just do one more. He's already, letting us know he'll be back. It's not going to be a political show because he doesn't raise money from that. He wouldn't even remember. And even if it was a guest, he can't remember. He won't remember anything in March. He doesn't know where he's going to be tomorrow.
There's no way. Because the fact that he even goes, it's February or March, you didn't book a show then. Correct. It's a huge range of time.
The time zone? I mean.
Yeah.
Well, this was a simpler time when he had a cell phone where he could put the thing into the calendar, and now he's never going to know when it was.
Oh, my gosh. So that's a little foreshadowing. John got his phone stolen or he lost it or something. And I have the clip. We'll play it later. But he's talking to Vince, and Vince asks him about, is there anything people could find on your phone that would be embarrassing to you? Like your emails or something? And John goes, well, how would they get into my emails? And Vince goes, well, it's on your phone. Because I have to log into my Gmail account. So John might use his phone like such a boomer that he just goes into the web browser and does everything from there, he might not be able to access a calendar from his phone. He might not have no idea how to set up a calendar on his phone. I don't know.
Also, did the iPhone 5 have a calendar built in?
Yes,
I don't actually
all
know.
of the iPhones have a calendar.
Okay,
It's
I just
one of
wasn't
the most
sure.
basic apps. Everyone should use a calendar.
And a calculator.
If you're not. Okay. So there's this person named Cape Coral Kelsey. Oftentimes, Vince is talking about Cape Coral Kelsey, claims that she is an informant for him, and she's down there in Cape Coral spying on John, reporting back on what's going on. And John claims that he doesn't think it's a real person.
Cape Coral Kelsey, you don't exist. You've never fucking, I gave you so many offers.
Then who are you talking
There's
to?
no way a woman. Rob,
I've gotten so dumb watching this guy for so many years. I don't even pick up on the most obvious stuff. It's like, you know what? You're not even a person.
But I will take your $2.
That's fine.
And listen to what I have to say here.
And I'll prove you're not a person. You listening? Because I'm going to prove it.
Instead, give me a 10.
there's no way a woman. Rob, I mean, you could feel free to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way a woman would refuse this.
Well, I'm going to plead the fifth on that.
I gave you the lob and you ran with it.
Okay. So the reason why I pulled this clip is for that
Checkmate.
part. That part right there. I gave you the lob. Yep. And you ran with it. What would you do with a lob, Christian? I mean, you're a baseball fan.
Yeah, I would hope that I was able to at least hit it for an inside the park home run. If it didn't go
At
over
least
the
make
fence.
contact with it.
Yeah.
Maybe leg out a single.
Yeah. Or I would catch it and then run to third base.
I give you a lob and you ran with it. John seems to think that he's part of a comedy duo. I've seen him do this with other people too, where he'll say something and then the other person will make just the most obvious, easy joke. It's like, yep, this is us. We're the best at this.
And before the last
It's also one of
syllables-
the only ways he can enjoy like a joke being on him is by pretending that he was in
Right.
control of it the whole time and setting it up from the beginning. And thank you for doing exactly what I wanted.
Yes.
And my favorite part about what we're watching is his inability to produce any actual joy or cheer. So it just comes off in this very like evil clown like delivery of forced laughter. That's very disturbing.
Yeah. And also there's this addiction and this thing where we're witnessing what happens every night at John's house. He gets drunk. He's probably yelling at his computer screen or the TV. And this is what his life is now. And the over the top maniacal laughing. You're right, Adam. This is not a jovial guy.
You know that character when he opens the show and he's like, hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a troll. It's like a real villain, like from Tim Burton. That's some dark stuff. And he thinks that's like positivity. It's going to be really fun when we see him, post the Kate date and suddenly it's a different character.
Yes.
And now there is some actual joy. We'll get to that.
He does the impression of a guy who's doing well in life. Like that's his impression of that. Like, yeah, you guys must think I'm killing it, right? Because I've been so happy and happy-go-lucky. Like, no, everyone sees right through it, actually. You're a terrible actor and no one's buying it at all.
It's monstrous. It comes off like a serial killer kind of behavior.
Yes. Now, this next clip, there's a couple things that are going on here. John's got a terrible joke. Rob can't read. It's all over the place.
And by the way, AJ Beat from my chat paid $2.
So he's reading the super chat from Albeit. Right?
AJ
That's
Beat,
the joke.
close
It's
enough.
AJ Beat. What? Doesn't even make sense, Rob.
And by the way, AJ.
Oh, I thought Adam was talking. My bad.
And by the way, AJ Beat from my chat paid $2 and said, ask Stuttering John if his wallet is in his car from the drive to bar.
All right, now here's the problem. It smells like tomato juice,
Yes.
which only means
So John got delivered beer multiple times during this episode because when VTM sees that John's doing a drunk stream, he can't order enough Grubhub and Uber Eats and deliveries to his house. So John's drinking something that he's already proclaimed years ago that he hates and will not drink. And now John's drinking it. It's the Modelo Chelada. It's like the beer that has tomato juice in it. And what's crazy here is John tries to make a joke and no one gets it. And so he tries to play it off like, oh, yeah, I'm just new boot goofing over here.
Manages.
Yes.
Which only means it's going to taste like the manages.
Points his head.
I'm kidding, Rob.
Yeah.
See, I can't make those kind of jokes with these people because they'll go,
Who can you
What
make
kind
those
of
jokes
jokes?
with?
I have to watch
Yeah.
it. I have to watch that again. This
What
is
people?
crazy.
What joke?
This is crazy. He realized that what he said wasn't entertaining in any way, and they're just like, you don't get it.
John, if his wallet is in his car from the drive to bar.
all right, now here's the problem. It smells like tomato juice,
Yes.
which only means it's going to taste like tomato juice. I'm kidding, Rob.
Yeah.
See, I can't make those kind of jokes with these people because they'll go,
Do you have the drop? That's just drug talk.
I do.
Sweet.
But you did it just fine. Thank you. Yeah, he's like pearls before swine, you know?
Yeah.
You just don't get this.
This is the version of John that I like. This is the real John that we're seeing. Like I said before, if he wasn't talking to Rob, he'd be talking to his TV, or he'd be yelling at the shitwaya, or he'd be clapping along with clips of him on the Howard Stern show. We know he watches himself.
Or he puts lipstick on his
on
hand.
YouTube. He's not Eric Cartman. I don't know. It's not that entertaining. So then a super chat comes in that asks John to play a scale.
Uh-oh.
I think this is fun. There's a few musicians here for us to analyze John's response to this.
Brian S. says, ask John to play scale without looking at the neck. I'm reading my super chats.
play what scale? I mean, there's a lot of scales.
Well, there you go. You got to elaborate there.
Bass clef, it's the treble clef. I mean, you got to really, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of options here.
All right, I'll ask you first, Adam. Is the bass clef or the treble clef a scale?
No, that would be irrelevant here.
Okay, that's what I thought. John's trying to sound smart, which he can do in front of second graders. If he wants
And
to
Rob.
right. If he wants to sound smart about music, well, I mean, I could play a scale, but you didn't tell me which scale. Treble
You
clef?
dumb fuck.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
You know, kids are like, oh, treble clef. I've heard that said when I'm not paying attention to you. All right, that must be the right answer. All right.
So,
John, can you play a scale? And he's like, here are some musical terms.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you play a scale? Any scale?
Well,
In
six.
any-
You want it in 6/8 time? You want it in 4/4? Do you want it
Should
in
I
2/4?
play the-
These are not on the question.
Should I play the do re mi? What do you want? Which scale? We got a bunch.
So later on, this guy comes back and says, John, any scale. I don't care. You choose. And listen to this deflection that he has.
And Jacob Ryan S. for $2 says, John, play any scale at all they want you to play.
Oh, wait. Any scale.
Yeah.
Some scales require different things.
Like what?
Should I get a capo?
A capo.
Ask him that, Rob.
Capo?
Even Rob knows it's a capo.
Yeah, I call it a capo.
I call it a cop out.
Yeah, Italian
Oh my gosh, you're right.
talk.
That was a cop out, and his brain connected the two things. And he called a capo a capo. Now I realize people are going to be annoyed with me, but as a guitar player for many years, no scale requires a capo.
Nope.
You can play every fucking scale that's ever been invented on a guitar. You don't need a capo to do it. And he could have just played a chromatic scale. That would have been the joke.
I
You
was
know?
thinking go with the easiest.
Yeah, just play every note.
You can't lose.
You can't. There it is. There's a scale. Yep, you're right. That is a scale.
This little deflection that we just saw here is like he'll wage year-long wars in his life over refusing to be corrected over
Yes.
the correct pronunciation of capo. He will hold on to that. I'm from Italian. I'm from this place in Long Island where we call it a capo. And he'll hold on to these things forever.
He'll look it up. He'll find where the word came from and find the Latin root and be like, yeah, but it was pronounced this way in Latin, and therefore everyone else is wrong.
He'll die on that hill for no reason.
For no reason, I'll just be like, oh, yeah, I meant capo.
Oh, I'm sorry, for $2.
Well, the reason is now we're talking about this instead of talking about the fucking scale he can't play.
Play the goddamn scale. The capo has nothing to do with the fucking scale, especially if it's any scale.
And you're not Italian.
That's like Homer with the any key. There doesn't seem to be any key. The guy goes, play any scale. Well, there's the other problem. There's some scales that you can't play. Right, so play the one you can. That was the point of all of that.
Well, that would be too easy.
It reminds me of the outtake from the audiobook Howard used to always play, William Shatner saying, sabotage the system. And he's like, well, no, that word sabotage. No, I say sabotage. And, he won't give in.
Right.
And, yeah.
He knows better. He's the celebrity.
Yeah.
He's the star. All right. I'm sorry. I know people get annoyed when I make fun of John's knowledge on music, but it's just wild to me. It's wild that he was teaching music theory to second graders.
Right.
And he could just be like, I'm not going to pick up I'm not your monkey. I'm going to play a scale for you. That's what I would say. I can play a scale for you, but it would be easy to do for anyone who plays fucking guitar. And John just has to be like, well, I don't know. You have to give me more information.
Also, second graders don't really learn music theory. They just learn music. It's called music.
Well,
Right.
you didn't have Mr. Melendez as your teacher, Adam. So I think that they have actually learned music theory. So
And maybe if I would have, and if he just would have sat me next to his desk and I could have learned from osmosis, I wouldn't be the limited musician I am
It's
today.
been pointed out, in second grade, the teacher sits behind a piano and everyone sings the songs along with them.
Yeah.
You just learn how to sing songs and stuff. Maybe there's a recorder involved at a certain point. You learn 3 or 4 notes.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Right. Yeah. If you got a big budget at that school, maybe the kids are going to record it.
The substitute music teacher is really getting involved in any aspect of their education or lives.
We were talking about it on Point Dabble Point, John's one-man show that we all want to see happen, obviously. But I said, John claims he's put together a 40-minute lecture on music theory for this class, and he calls it a performance that he does. I would pay $1,000 a seat and bring all you guys along with me to go watch John present music theory to second graders. If he could recreate that somehow. Or if someone was filming that class, I'd pay less money than that, but still.
Yeah, I picture all the preamble, which probably involves like what he used to do and all that. It's not just going to be like, here's the notes of a scale or...
Did I tell you guys that Sting was in my music video?
Right.
Do you guys know the band The Police?
It would be all that. It would go on for more than 40 minutes.
do you think the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast might come up before he got to actually discussing music?
Perhaps.
Do you know
I
how many
have
points
studied
he
acting
averaged?
a little bit since I was a kid, pretty seriously, and he loves to come off like an acting teacher. And the only thing I've ever heard him say is the word colors. He's like, you need more colors in your work. And I explained to these kids what colors were. I don't know what he thinks colors are, but that's really for painting. That's not what we're doing here. So I could teach an entire music theory course just on John tuning that guitar to his voice, right? Which no one can do. And then hitting the note and singing it at the same time without hearing it, thinking he was going to be able to guess with his voice what the first note was of this entirely wrong chord, which, man, like he thought he was going to come in and hit that.
La 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 la.
That's what we teach a course on. I would love to see anything he has to offer. I think it would be incredibly entertaining.
Do you guys think that even for like a split second? Oh, sorry. Do you guys think even for a split second he just figures that forget how long this drop is?
See, now, if I was a nice guy, I would have paused that and let you talk.
No. I deserved it. I should never talk over a drop like
What were
that.
you saying? What was the point you were
But-
making?
I can't wait for you to play the drop again when I try to talk again.
No. Look at my hands up here.
No, not this show. Not this show. So even for a second, do you think he's just like, you know what, I'm too wasted to play any scales. Let's talk about, does he even ever consider that? Just being like, no, not tonight. I'm too drunk.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like he has to be like, no. I just don't understand your dumb question.
He can never admit that he's actually drunk.
He can never admit anything.
Right. But he even has to say at a certain point in this show, he's just like, I'm just like 4 beers in. And, well, that's probably organ failure than what we're watching, because that's not great either.
Good point.
Okay. Good point. Organ failure.
Well, no,
Good point.
just like when he lies about being younger, it's like, no, you look like shit.
Yes.
Say you're older, dumbass.
That's something I don't point out a lot on here. John used to lie about his age for years until he found out that Google exists. Years after Google existed. And he realized he couldn't lie about his age anymore. But yeah, it's the worst thing. If he could still lie about his age, what would he be saying? He's 48 right now or something like that. You'd just be like, oof, I hope not.
I'm timeless.
I remember when he tried to convince Gary on the Howard Stern show that he was lying about his age, making himself younger as a goof on Gary. And he really thought he could spin the whole room into thinking this was not his own personal vanity. This was a goof on Gary. And he never let it go. And this is how he still lives his life.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah, he did get busted on Stern lying about his age.
And he's like, look at how stupid Gary is. He thinks I'm younger when I tell everyone I'm younger. What a fool. How embarrassing for him.
And that goes back to Chad Zumach's School of Schooling People and Stuttering John. Like, lie. And then someone repeats your lie and you go, ha, you idiot. You fell for that? Oh, I just didn't realize you're a pathological liar. I won't be fooled again.
Right.
My bad.
Fool me once.
Yes. All right. Now, Rob Saul gets a question about his Christmas plans. I don't know a lot about Rob's personal life other than that he's a loser with no friends and very little family.
I think you just summed it up.
I think I summed it up.
Nailed it.
So he gets the question about his Christmas plans. And he, like John, has these tells when it comes to him lying that are, watch how Rob responds to this.
What's your big plans for Christmas?
I am going out with some family and friends. I'm going to my family's, and then I'm going one of my best friends. They consider me a part of their family. I'm going to their family Christmas party. I happen to have off Christmas this year, and
Family.
I am doing stuff that normal people do because I'm popular and I have friends and family and I'm itchy all of a
Certainly not
sudden.
lying.
My face is itchy and I have to look over here and over here. But definitely not straight ahead.
I'm having family time with my friend's family because they consider me to be family. What about you?
It sounds about right. I believe that. Rob? Okay. Vince, you see John's not up here right now. It's because he got another knock on the door. He's over talking to whoever's at the door for him. And Vince is just sending John drinks he hates, which is one of the things that Vince likes to do.
Look, here's the problem. Vince has sent me this shit, but he sent me shit I can't drink now. Vince, at least send me a 6-pack of fucking Michelob Ultra. I can't get this gelada's gonna make me puke. I don't really drink this shit.
He goes, this is going to make me puke. He's already started drinking that. He's got 3 drinks open right now.
But he's already puked, so.
Right.
Shit. I don't know.
So now he shows off. Yeah, he's got the screwdriver, Smirnoff screwdriver thing that he's showing off to the camera. He's like, I can't drink this. And then what do you think he's going to do with that drink?
Hydrate.
He's going to drink it.
I don't know. Let me try.
Well, Stuttering John, since you can't see it on screen, I got to tell you, I got to pull up a super chat from Gino Bobina. It's a pink one. It's a $50 one.
Good.
They say, go.
There's that chord. You ever see those guitarists who can grab a bottle and play like slide guitar with the beer bottle and they shred on it? John's able to drop a bottle and hit that chord. He's amazing. He hit that chord from across the room.
He ruined the beer and the guitar.
He's more upset about the beer.
I know.
So he goes, I can't drink this stuff. He's already drinking the tomato thing. And then he goes, well, let me try it. And cracks it open and starts chugging it. It's almost like you don't have discerning taste, John. It's fine.
This is terrible.
All right, I'll drink 3 more of these, but stop sending them after that.
I'll take the crab juice.
Before John's musical moment was one of my favorite things about this show, which is Rob cannot wait to point out that he got a $50 super chat from someone who insults John. And he sees it when John's gone. He's like, oh, I got to save that one. I can't wait to he's so upfront about it. We were talking on Point Double Point. None of these people like John, but he just can't wait to be like, hey, how about that? You don't have $50 tonight, loser.
Well, okay.
Good point.
Since you brought that up, and actually our buddy Cardiff is here. Cardiff might have some insights. I don't know if he's ever studied Stuttering John before. What's up, Cardiff?
Oh, hello. You had me at, as soon as I heard capo, I needed to jump on.
Capo, what the fuck?
Is that how they say that in Minnesota, Cardiff?
Of course. And there's many scales you can't not play without a capo.
Okay.
Did I say that right?
You'll have to tell me during the break which scales though are. I'm confused by that.
And in which clef, you dumb fuck?
You're right. You don't know anything. So, John, this is later on in the show, but he puts up a insulting super chat. So this is like payback. They're battling super chats here. He puts up an insulting super chat about Rob, but claims he's not sure if it's insulting or not. Like, you can't read a sentence before putting it up on your show.
Rob, if I put up a super chat, it's not to hurt you in any way. So I know what this is going to say. Cool Cut Casting, Slob Soul is podcast poison. Thanks for letting us hit this clown with tomatoes.
Yeah, that could go either way.
Casting, you're a fucking loser.
I'm not sure if that's
not.
insulting or not. Chad goes, look at Rob, just so you know, there's no way I could possibly know if it's insulting or not. So don't take offense if it happens to be insulting.
Can you play the end of that? What does Rob say?
Oh, I backed it up.
Oh, all right, great.
It's in all caps.
Yeah. What?
And it starts with slob Saul.
Yeah, so we knew because the first word was slob. He knew exactly what it was. He only gets fooled when it's at the end. So he was letting him know ahead of time.
So I know what this is going to say. Cool Cut Casting, Slob Soul is podcast poison. Thanks for letting us hit this clown with tomatoes.
Cool Cut Casting, you're a fucking loser that just pays money, and you're like, I'm throwing my pennies and at people. No, you're losers.
Who knew he was going to call him a loser? I wasn't predicting that.
I was going to create a Rob Saul game, like how he responds to things, but all the answers were losers. There's no way to fool you.
Yeah. He really is a one-trick pony when it comes to this stuff. And I can't think of someone who's more down on their luck than Rob Saul in his Forever 21 shirt, getting wasted on the internet with Nasty Neal and Stuttering John Melendez. Is there a bottom lower than this?
We'll find out.
He was on Win by Two the other day.
Okay.
And I guess he was Win by Two uses Zoom or something, and he didn't have his green screens.
Oh,
like
no.
his StreamYard green screens. So he just had a green, like the green fabric behind him.
Yep.
And it just made him, like, at least the background he has there makes him almost look like he's somebody. But when he's just performing or talking in front of a green sheet, he looks even more pathetic.
Yeah, we talk about.
Fantastic. There you go.
Yeah, like Christian looks right now. What a loser.
What? No, I look cool. That's the difference between me and Rob Saul.
We do talk about wanting to see John's house and what it all looks like. Rob's place would be fascinating as well. I can only imagine what that place is like. Because you're right, Cardiff. He's got that one of his green screens is that recording studio with that sick board and drum room and everything. And you're like, wow, this guy owns a multi-million-dollar studio.
This guy can play a scale.
This guy knows how to play a scale. He's got the Roadcaster in front of him. He knows what he's doing. I would love to see what reality looks like. Kind of like how we're seeing John's reality with the empty closet behind him. Why not close the doors if you're going to have an empty closet?
Because you'd have to move the boxes out of the way, Carl.
You're right. And he's got his guitars lined up right there. He wants to show off those sweet guitars. I'm sure they all have new strings on them, too.
You'll see later on that Vince asked John about something about his underwear, and he goes, "Oh, this is the kind I wear," and he didn't even have to leave frame. He just reached down, pulled right up, had underwear at the ready. So I want to see what's going on below there, and I want to see not just Rob's place, but his neighbors. I want to see that whole complex there and how they're all living together.
Yeah, because that neighbor who came over for a $20 bill so he could make a beer run.
All right.
And Rob had the most specific order of all time. It was 2 drinks I'd never heard of in a size I didn't know existed.
Yeah, it's like the tiny little.
And then he goes, get yourself something nice, too. Whatever's left over.
I hate to burst your bubble. It's Rob's roommate.
Oh, is that Rob's roommate?
It's Rob's roommate.
Oh, no shit.
Wait, he podcasts in his living room with roommates?
He has roommates, for sure. He's had people walk in on his show more than once. There's no way people are just walking into his. They live in the house with him.
Oh, you're right. The apartment. Yeah, that's a good point.
What are the odds it's some kind of group home setup?
Interesting. I wouldn't put it past
No, he drinks too much. Nah, never mind.
He does own the place. He's talked about that. We all know the bankruptcy. He does own the place, but I think you have to bring in some boarders, as they would call them, to pay the bills.
Okay, so there's a super chat that comes up about John's relationship with his children. And I think it's odd that this is why he won't ask that question.
You know what? I'm not even going to answer this one because it's only $2. You gotta leave me more money. $2. John, honest answer. Last time you saw each child. John's not going to want to answer that. And
yeah, not for $2. He's not going to want to answer that. I mean, $5 maybe he would. So John's up at the door right now talking to the next delivery guy. And so that's why Rob's putting this up.
Exactly. He's taking a moment out to insult him.
Correct. Yes. He's like, he's not going to want to answer this. And for $2, what price can you put on John's dignity? I'd love to know.
$2.
That, and I'm not going to force them on my show for $2. You know. And who cares? Like, why do you care? His relationship with his children.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Do you get that? Like, why people are so obsessed?
No.
With our relationship with our kid.
Yeah. I don't know. I can hear John talking to someone else in the background.
Yeah.
Trying to spy in.
All right. And now, can you please leave me alone?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Now, please leave me alone.
All right, so at least Nasty Neal understands. Shut the fuck up, Rob. We can hear John, the delivery person at the door, the most interesting part of the show, when John's interacting with these people who are delivering free booze from Vince. But I like that Rob, and I'll open it up to the group here. Got a good group. Do you guys know why people would want to know the answer to when's the last time John has spoken with any of his children?
Scene was it?
I think it's because he talks about what a great parent he is.
Yes, it's because he lies about it endlessly.
Yeah.
If John came out and just went, I wish I had a better relationship with my kids, we'd all be like, oh, that sucks. We'd feel bad for the guy. Yeah. It's only because he lies. Why do you think Cardiff outed John for Zoom courting from his second grade classroom? Because he said he was at an ad agency.
Mm-hmm. Eating prime rib for lunch every day at 9 a.m.
That's why we're interested in it.
Also brags about being a great teacher.
Yes. Yeah. I've said it many times, but I'll just say it again. We've clowned Opie for endless hours, and I've never cared about what his personal life is like. No. I don't think he's lying to us about anything. I think he does have that really nice apartment in Manhattan and that other house that's on the beach and probably another place in Philly.
I believe those 3 things.
I believe those 3 things. I think he didn't pay for parking in the garage, and so he had to move his car once a week.
I believe that.
For the street sweeper. So
I do believe that Doggy really does like him. I don't know about anybody else, but I think Doggy really likes him.
Have a great relationship, honestly. But that's the reason why.
I think what we're seeing is it's the same thing as when he was on the Howard Stern show explaining to Gary that he's younger than he really is and that it's a goof on Gary. That's the noble cause. That's what we're all here to do, right, Howard? We're all here to goof on Gary. So that's a holy thing. I can do anything in the name of that. John, all of these lies that were just listed that you have admitted are lies, you will say they were lies to protect the children.
Right.
Maybe. Why do they also have to be lies that make you look good? Do you understand that's the part we're interested in? We're not interested in the children part. We're interested in the part of you that says, I have to protect children by looking like a Monopoly billionaire with a monocle. And, that's what we're taking down. It's not the kids. Maybe if your lies didn't have to make you look like some kind of superhero in every single telling, even a substitute teaching gig has to be like, lean on me. And you're like, shoeless Joe. It's just stop. Just stop.
But that really is what it comes down to. When I had my one-on-one with John over a year ago, I told him, I go, I understand you want to protect the kids, but why did you have to make up that you were working for a trivia app? And why did you say you bought a 5-bedroom house in New Mexico? Like, you're making up these lies that make people want to dig in and see what you're lying about, rather than just say, yeah, I have a day job. It's none of your business. No, I work at an ad agency.
To be fair, those lies did make Gary Delabate look really stupid. So,
okay. And that is the goal.
And again, to be fair, I wasn't spying on his Zoom court to find out if he was substitute teaching. That just happened. Nobody expected that to happen.
That's why it was a big story that broke. Yes, correct. And Rob would be like, well, how do you care if he's substitute teaching? Because he was lying about it. He thought he was writing an ad for the Super Bowl. No one bought it for a second.
John, if you really want to protect the kids or your kids, when somebody says, John, are you teaching? Say, no, I work at the DMV.
Yes.
It just kind of ends
job.
there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's nothing else to say. It's the fact that you're living a Mad Men fantasy that makes people have some follow-up questions.
Yes. The fact that you're unemployable and have a 6-figure job is why people are like, wait a second.
And just to bring this back to Rob, can we point out that, because I normally listen to these shows, and I did listen to this one, I didn't watch. I wasn't aware that there was this like Louis C.K.'s slower younger brother dressed as an elf, just not saying a word for a full hour at a time until John leaves. And now it's his turn to not listen to Rob and to interrupt him and to tell him you're doing the wrong thing. Can we please just listen to the door?
Yes. And thank you, Nasty Neal, for pointing that out. Now, Neil's a little different than John and Rob in that he's sober. How he puts up with this, I have no idea. It reminds me of when DG and John did that drunk show with Joey C.
Oh, yeah.
And Joey C was sober. I'm like, why are you talking to these guys still? Aren't you annoyed? Because I would be. So John comes back from arguing with the person at the door and tells us that he's not sure who's in whose head when it comes to his relationship with VTM.
I don't know. Fucking Vince said that fucking dwarf was probably drinking. You know what that dwarf thought? He thought my bit that I did was hysterical, and now he's rewarding me.
What do you think?
Good.
He thinks he's in my head. I'm in his head too. That's what it was. He loved that dwarf bit, and now he's gonna keep on earning me shit.
John thinks he's being rewarded for good bits. And that's why. And I don't know if John really thinks this. I don't know what John thinks, honestly. I'm not going to be like Aaron Imholt claiming that I can think like myself and think like other people. I don't know. But John is constantly claiming that he's entertaining to Vince and Vince's kids love him and he knows that he's killing it. And Vince, the other person he hangs out with as much as John, is High Pitch Eric. Vince sees John as a whack packer that he can clown nonstop. That's it. That's the beginning and that's everything you need to know about their relationship.
And John with the deliveries is like Homer saying, I don't need your money, as he puts the check in his pocket.
Normally people don't take the money when they say that.
Because that's the stance he has to take if he's going to accept this from
Right.
someone who's clowning him openly.
Right. I'm not sure who's in whose head. Okay. So now John gets mad at Rob because Rob's got too many super chats, more than John has, even though Rob has like 5 viewers, but everyone's super chatting him. John's not getting any super chats. So he has to shut it down. He's like, I thought we were just going to have a conversation, man. I thought we were going to talk. And then watch what John does immediately after he shuts that down.
But I'm saying, you're reading. I wanted to ask, really,
Okay.
in questions, talk without these stupid super chats. I don't really not stupid. I appreciate all of you,
Yeah, of course.
but I don't want to get to affect my train of thought. Polar bear skill.
He goes, Rob, stop reading these super chats. You're getting me off track. All right, let's get back to my super chats now.
Get that stupid $50 super chat off the screen. Polar bear $1.99. Skull.
Yep.
That's it.
He doesn't read.
We've seen
$2 super
videos
chats.
of like children under 5, under 3, somebody else gets a toy and they just give me the toy. They can't have it. They can't rest. They have to blow out the candles. They can't do it.
Yes.
And that's him. And he does a little more advanced trickery, but it's the same thing. He is incapable of being happy for anyone or ever seeing that if money were to be hitting those around you, that means it could hit you at some point. You want to support this. We're not looking for a desert. He truly, it's not enough for him to have anything. We also cannot have. He can't stand it.
And we've literally watched him tell Clay Dabbler to shut up so he can read super chats.
Yes, all the time.
Like his guests.
Yes.
His guests be damned. But
Adam, you just reminded me of one of my favorite moments ever in the Dabbleverse was, and Shuli and Chad were working together. It was right after John came back, and John's on with Chad, and Chad puts his Venmo out there. Yeah. And all of a sudden, all this money's coming into Chad's Venmo. And they were even doing photoshops of what Venmo deposits would look like and sending them to Chad. So Chad's showing this. He's like, holy shit, another $300, John. And John's face just goes, well, you could probably share some of that with me. Like he got so upset that Chad was making money on that. It was one of the best trolls ever. That pisses off John to no end. Someone else succeeding.
You know how we know that on this day that we're watching, John's upset that Rob Saul's making so much money in Super Chats? He's upset because he says, no, Rob, I'm happy for you that you're making so much money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tell that it's like, oh, he's furious.
Yeah, he's not happy for anyone, ever. No, there's no way. Unless he can take credit for it. He's happy that his son went to Harvard because his dad was so brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, it always comes back to him. It's never just like, man, that kid's been through a lot. It's amazing. I hope he has a great life. It's always a reflection of him and what he did to have that happen. Even when he's talking about Howard Stern, this was happening just recently this week, where he's talking about the Howard Stern show and how much better it was when he was on the show. I think it might have been Clay Dabbler was asking him, what do you think? Some people say that the Artie years were better after you left. And just like, no one thinks that. It's like, no, actually, I do, personally.
I definitely think that.
Yeah, when they went to Sirius.
Yes.
When they went to Satellite, the show changed. It took on a whole new life. It was amazing.
But it's so reflexive in his behavior. He cannot just dish out a compliment and leave it there.
No.
He can't say anything. He can't do a movie quote and say, wasn't that a great movie? No, it's like, did you enjoy how I did that quote? Isn't that amazing? I remembered it word for word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Every fucking thing.
Well, speaking of that, John is quizzing Nasty Neal. Now, Nasty Neal was on this show talking about he's into horror movies, and I think he makes or produces independent horror movies.
He has a horror movie podcast.
He's a horror movie podcast, so he's always
Off
talking.
Your Head or some shit.
Yeah. So he's really into movies. So John quizzes Nasty Nate here, or Nasty Neal.
Who's the bigger fool? The fool or the fool that follows him?
No, that's an age-old question, I think. I would have to go with the fool that follows the fool.
No, who said it?
Oh, who said it?
Movie.
I thought you were asking that.
No, I'm talking movie. Rob, I've already told you. That's why you're not allowed to.
Yes.
Well, I'm not positive what movie that is.
Fucking Neil.
He already told Rob, so this is the one piece of trivia he has in his brain right now that he can use.
It's a famous line from the original Star Wars.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This isn't a difficult trivia question.
At least he went deep and really obscure. No wonder that Neil didn't know it. That's not on Neil.
But that is, Chris, I think that's what was happening. I think this guy's a movie buff who talks movies all day long. I think this was such an obvious question that he was like taking it as an actual question. Like, are you asking me if I can handle the truth? Like, what movie that's from? Like, these are basic. I think it didn't even occur. Like, and I think when he hears Star Wars, he'll be like, oh, right. Like, I wasn't even. We don't talk about Star Wars on my podcast. We talk about that's what I think.
We go a little deeper.
John, are you calling me a fool? Or are you the fool? What are you?
Yeah.
Cardiff, if you ever bring back the Who Said It game, you got to pull that drop.
Said it. Yeah, I need that.
John saying Who Said It.
By the way, Adam Bush has a little bit of foresight in today's game. with the "you can't handle the truth."
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah, John throws that line around in today's episode.
Nice.
But Adam Bush, I have a question for you. Luke, I am your father. Go.
First of all, my name's not Luke.
right.
And
I
we're
am your
not.
father, though.
Right, that is true. Is it from a musical?
Okay.
Play the clip, Carl.
Let's get it.
You can't handle the truth.
Let's get into John playing the hand trumpet, something he's very proud of. Again, going back to how talented he is as a musician.
No one,
Secret here.
no one has came to understand the talent of doing that. Like I'm one hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd use the two for like, you know, like a Muslim's, but here.
A muzzle. It's called a mute.
Oh, no, not good yet. No, it's not gonna be good because my hands are wet. Anyway,
That's
you
why.
understand the premise.
Why are your hands wet? Nothing is better than calling your shot. Like if Babe Ruth had struck out after pointing to left field, there's nothing funnier than that right there. It's like, people don't realize how fucking scary talented I am. Check this out. Okay.
My hands are all wet from doing that. It's so stupid.
So John thinks that he has this unique talent that nobody else has. Someone sent this to me to play on, who are these socials? I'm not sure if we have played it or not, but it fits into this context pretty well. Check out this chick.
Here's a weird talent nobody asked for.
That is Mouth Trumpet Girl. She's pretty fucking impressive. I would start a horn section with her. I don't know if the others would be offended by that or not, but it sounds great. Much better than
It's
John's.
cheating when you use a glass as a muzzle.
As a muzzle.
But the whole point is it's not supposed to actually sound like a trumpet. That's why
Oh.
much better, Lady K.
My bad. Yes, I'm sure he'd have a reason why his is better than that. This is so we're reading super chats back and forth. They're simulcasting. They're both on their own channels doing this, and a brilliant idea is thrown out.
Man of
I think we can do a thing here, Rob. We can go super chat, point super chat. You read yours and then I read mine.
Yes.
That'll be a new show on the Sandusky Network.
Super chat, point super chat.
And you can Venmo me a Headyverse. I'll read them.
I like that. Nasty Neal gets in there at the end. He's just like, I can also be taking your money. Yeah, guys. No, my favorite part about that clip is it's point counterpoint. It's not counterpoint counter. It's not 0.0. They're like, give me super chat, point, and super chat. You're not even understanding how this phrase works. The reason why it's point dabble point is if the point to go on the either end. It's a discussion. People making points.
Can you slow down with that explanation? Hold on. What?
I know. I might have over-explained it just now.
I think I might have to call you out on that one, Carl.
Please do.
I think you're a hypocrite.
Okay, fair enough.
Got you there.
No, John's being honest about what he wants. He does not want any counterpoints. He just wants
Yeah.
people to agree with him. He's not looking for the other side, so why request it?
Super chat, point, super chat. I'm tuning in for that show. It sounds amazing. Can we super chat it? Oh, yeah. We accept super chats. Cool. Sounds good. All right, now, Penis Wrinkle gets into the mix here on the super chats, and Penis Wrinkle has some opinions on Rob Saul and maybe what Rob is up to, and Rob doesn't like it.
I know a pillhead nod when I see one. Look at this.
It says, I know a pillhead nod when I see when Rob's a fiend. And Rob does. I mean, his head motions, and I said this before. I was going back and watching an old episode where it was like Rob and Bob Levy or something from a few years ago. He was not like that. This is all new behavior that's going on. And it gets crazier the later it is in the day that he's streaming.
I can't wait. This guy is
Penis wrinkle. Why don't you just shut? Why don't you? I mean, you have.
Neal,
so
he's
much-
the biggest
You want to
loser.
say to me? I implore you to come to my face and say it, but you won't because you're a pussy. And look at you. You're hiding behind a Tim Curry Pennywise.
Why is that always the move? So someone says, dude, you seem like a pillhead. I can tell by the way you're nodding your head all around. Rob's response is to nod his head all over the place. And then say, why don't you punch me in the face?
Yeah.
Because I'm on the internet and so are you, idiot. Because no one's looking to fight anyone.
Fucking a graphic. You're a loser. You're a fucking loser. Yeah, I get it. You can look up people's information. Look up my information. Come
Just
to
help
me
me.
and find me.
very disturbing.
Did Penis Wrinkle say anything about his information or looking up his information? He just said that it seems like you're maybe on pills.
You seem to be.
Rob can't
so,
make eye contact with this entire side of the room.
Right.
Like, he can't even look in that direction. And it only happens when somebody accuses him of being inebriated. Suddenly he is dizzy
You're
and
inebriated,
spinning.
Adam. I'm not inebriated. What do you mean?
Exactly.
The-
Exactly.
What Rob was referring though was Penis Wrinkle was the one that broke the Rob Saul bankruptcy story.
Oh, okay. Well, that was an
so
important
that's-
story.
It was.
That was an important story only because they'll be like, why do you care if he had a bankruptcy? Because he calls everyone a loser. That's what makes it interesting. When someone goes around saying that everyone else is a loser, you find out that they're a loser. You're like, well, that's interesting. I'm going to note
And
that
for
down.
two people that are accusing everybody else of, you're inside their heads, you're having a conversation with him right now that needed explanation to the audience because you don't care if we understand. You're just fighting a battle and having a conversation with ghost people
That's a good
who are
point.
joking with you.
Yes.
And John is at first proud of his boy and then slowly disgusted.
Good
And
point.
the fact that I know all these facts means I'm a loser.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Penis Wrinkle, his only job is to get a rise out of people. And then they do just that all the time. Rob goes on to say that he has him blocked and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's what he's trying to do is fuck with you idiots.
He has a
Fine.
lawyer involved with Penis Wrinkle.
Oh, I thought the lawyer was with
But he's-
Kevin Brennan.
No, I believe he's discussed Penis Wrinkle as well with his lawyer.
I guess Penis Wrinkle will be super chatting $1.99 anytime soon. Not after
I
he's
hope
supposed to pay all
that's
his
a-
legal fees.
I hope that court hearing is actually also streamed on Zoom. The state of New Jersey versus Penis Wrinkle 12.
Yes. Penis Wrinkle, is that a
You know,
second
Nasty
grader
Neal
behind
might
you?
point out. Nasty Neal might point out that it's the old Tim Curry, not the current one. You know, that's something to talk about.
Right.
If all you can do is make fun of his
You should know
avatar.
that.
People's information. Look up my information. Come
Just
to
help
me
me.
and find me.
Very disturbing.
You seem to be so.
You ever stop and think like I'm yelling at a guy named Penis Wrinkle?
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is, this guy's such a tough guy. Come say it to me. I'm more than willing to hear you out because you seem to have such an issue with me that I would love to hear you out face to face, you pussy.
Let's see.
No one's got Rob's back, which is great. Even amongst friends, it's like, all right, you done? Moving on. Hey, Rob, I also make fun of you on the internet. It's not because I'm a tough guy. It's not because I want to meet you face to face and explain this shit to you. I'd rather talk to a larger audience than just you and explain that you suck. I hate that thing where it's just like, oh, you think you're a tough guy? Penis Wrinkle's never claimed to be a tough guy.
No.
His name is Penis Wrinkle.
And the way John just glazes over and he's like, yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah, right. Like, why you get so worked up, you idiot? This is why you get clowned on the internet. So John is so fucked up at this point that he brags he's able to read a super chat. And then Rob does something. I've never seen anything like this before. This is wild.
Great show. So this is the normal night, John, getting shit-faced and blacking out alone. Really sad, man. Rob, nice eyeliner and dashiki. Just do it.
Yeah. Oh, you're so funny, fella. Oh my.
Hey, Neil, if I was that fucked up, could I have read that?
Very, very well said. I plus we heard someone at the door.
I guess that's the case closed motion. It means a lot of different things to John. It's like aloha to John. It can mean hello, I love you, goodbye. But that was case closed. I read a super chat. How fucked up can I possibly be? Now watch what Rob does here. because I always say that John's a 6-year-old child, and that's how it explains all of his behavior. Watch this.
Or, and you're here with the two of us.
Look at me. I'm the guy from Star Trek.
But again, all right, Neil.
What the fuck was
Wow.
that?
Wow.
Look at me. I'm the guy from Star Trek.
I
And
think he
gave him
said Star
nothing.
Trek. I'm pretty sure he said Star Trek too. Just
And they-
that insult to.
They both gave him nothing, which was great. Is amazing Star Trek bit.
What it
The two
deserved.
of
Yeah.
us.
Look at me. I'm the guy from Star Trek.
I think you're right.
But again, all right, Neil.
By the way, he gets criticized for wearing eyeliner, and the first thing he does is cover up his eyes.
yeah. There's something to that.
A loser wouldn't do that.
He's reaching. He had some success with the Shuli costume. He's like, let's see what other props. Like, oh, I have headphones. Let's see
Some
what
success. Vince the lawyer said it was the best improv he's ever seen in his life.
That is true.
And there's one thing I
It
know
is the
about
best
Vince.
improv Vince has ever seen in his life.
One thing I know about
Yes.
Vince is he's never lying and telling the opposite of the truth. Now John gets a question here that he has to think quick on.
Hey, John, honest question. With your credits, why do you think you haven't been able to find another showbiz job? When COVID happened, I was like, fuck it, no industry. So I decided to become a school teacher. Sorry if that's not cool in your book, but to me, these children need school teachers.
Did they not need school teachers before the quarantine?
He thought it up quick.
Well, that's the thing. the idea that John hasn't tried to maintain his show business career is insane, and we've all watched him do this. Before he left LA, he's like, I got an audition, and I'm going to get this gig, and I'm going to probably do this thing, and he's constantly talking about what he's going to do. And they're like, how come you never got any of these gigs? He's like, because I'd rather be a substitute school teacher. What part of that do you not understand?
I just
John,
want
you know
to.
what's-
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You know what's still happening during the pandemic? Voiceovers, podcasts. Like, you've done cartoons. You didn't have to stop being an artist, and kids still needed help before this. Like, just admit what's happening.
Adam,
you could have
you're
done
wrong.
many other things.
wrong.
I was
No
listening
one
to comics talk about doing roofs and pool parties and houses.
No one
and,
has a job in show business anymore because of COVID. Nobody does.
right.
Well, it's funny you say that, Carl, because my wife's a television writer. She hadn't worked for all of 2019. And in July of 2020, she got hired on a TV show. And then when that one was over, she was hired on another show. She worked for about 3.5 years straight.
Nope,
Yeah,
you're lying. You're lying. Because of COVID. There's no way that possibly happened.
Are we all going to ignore the 5-year gap between COVID and his last TV gig?
That's also a good point.
He was
Long
waiting for
before
the
COVID.
reboot of the arm wrestling league.
Right.
It's still coming.
And I'm pretty sure it's mostly over. So why is he not working now? Why can't you supplement your income with some entertainment
got a
gigs?
new job in
Isn't this show
January.
you've been doing the entire time an entertainment gig? It's just not working for you, but you never stopped.
Well, I can think of a subreddit you don't read, Rob, if you think the pandemic is over.
Yes, that's a good point. Zero COVID community still keeping the dream alive that we should all be staying in our houses forever. John leaves the show, and Rob reminds us that he can't talk so good. This is a guy who claims to be a broadcaster.
I'm not willing to cater to people that are just people that that haven't been good to me, and I don't know, Neil. What am I trying to say?
I don't know either. You're the one trying to say it, so you have to tell us.
Try talking while a dog's licking your taint.
Okay, he might be distracted. I couldn't imagine being that bad at talking and thinking I should be a talk show host.
This is like closing time at the bar. Hey, Rob, why don't you finish that up and get an Uber?
You think I'm okay to drive?
I don't think you're okay to do anything.
Come on, man.
You want me to get an Uber?
Oh.
So then Rob just gets up and leaves, and Nasty Neal's not really sure why.
Gina Bobina was asking earlier what was my pornography of choice.
What was it?
Let's see here. I don't know. Like I like 8-bit pornography. You know, like so it looks like old NES graphics. Kind of my deal. Be like a princess and Mario.
Rob's just taking his date into the other room.
Yeah, time to fuck the dog.
Okay. So this guy is going off on some weird thing about NES porn or something. And most of this show, especially when John leaves, is them reading free chats and just trying to keep something going. They have no chemistry together. They have nothing to talk about. So they're just hoping that they can read a chat and come up with something. And so when Rob comes back, he can't explain why he just got up abruptly and was gone for minutes.
Oh, here he is return. Here's return. Let's see, Gina Bobina, hilarious. Santa's balls. Final boss just put Santa's balls with a bunch of smiley faces.
Oh, wow. How dare him.
That's in reference to. Maybe he's just happy about Santa's balls.
Yeah.
Jay Warren, what do you think of Kelly Rutherford as an actor? I'm not sure who that is, honestly. I know I'm bad sometimes with names. Let me look
Why'd
that
you
up.
read it?
Welcome back, Rob. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. You know.
Dog's not.
I'm just.
Does Vince the lawyer have your address? Does he ever send you anything?
Neil, why did you bail him out on that? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. I'm just,
Rob, you kind of trailed off there.
I know, but
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, well, no, I'm fine. Just,
Okay.
The dog you walked off
if we
with,
were
is
like
it still
directing-
alive, or is it in your freezer now? What happened?
He looks like he just saw a body or created a dead body and was now told to go back in the room, act like nothing happened, and continue your podcast. That's what you just saw. He couldn't stop looking over there. He's not present. I know there are moments where I've had too much to drink and I hear myself slurring a little bit and I'm like, oh shit, I sound like that. I think what we're seeing are large gaps where they have no idea. And he is waking up kind of mid-sentence and going, what were we talking about, Neil? And it's such a cycle of abuse, the way John shits on him, so he has to shit on Neil, and it just goes round and round.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I don't even have nightmares about being this bad because I know I can't possibly be this bad. But he does this all the time where he gets way too wasted. He can't talk normally, but he gets way too wasted and does these shit shows that are this embarrassing. It would take one of those for me to never do it again.
So he's not looking back at any of this when he's sober. Oh, he's never sober. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. What's your take on this, Adam? You watched this episode.
He's blackout, drunk, pills, whatever it is.
But he's doing that on the internet. Now, remember, he privated this video, so he definitely was embarrassed.
He has some awareness. He's done this a few times. He's had a few drunk episodes that get privated like almost immediate. Like I've been watching some of them that just disappear as I'm watching them.
Yes. So I'm so glad I grabbed this in time. Thanks again to Peter Sprinkle for giving me a heads up on this because, this video is gone.
Which means that he still has at least an employer or one or two friends and family in his life that he doesn't want to see that. Because outside of that, he keeps saying the word family, right? And he keeps coming back to John. And John, for whatever reason, is a mentor or a bigger brother or a family figure. And John is showing him how to podcast. Right. And Rob is doing everything John does, from the losers to the attacking to the drunk. And he's just following what has worked for this successful guy, because he's found when he's out at the bar trying to talk to people and they say, what do you do? And he goes, I do a podcast. Everything he says after that, they stop listening. But sometimes when he says, and I do it with this guy from the Howard Stern show, the ears just kind of perk up for a second. And he doesn't want to lose that because it's all he's got. And so he's willing to completely debase himself like a court jester who will be murdered at the king's random whim any day now to, get by and maybe get some super chats. Because there's no show. There's no show here.
Again, Adam, brilliant insight. I didn't even think about this. Rob used to do a show with Bob Levy. And he's had Anthony Cumia on his show. And he's been able to say, I was on radio, I was a broadcaster, I've done shows with this person, that person. He doesn't want to let go of that. So now he's down to Stuttering John. And anyone who's not in the Dabbleverse knows who Stuttering John is and doesn't know how pathetic that is to be co-host with him. think you're onto something there, my friend. Any final thoughts on this? I know it was a marathon. We probably went way too long with this segment, but these clips are fascinating to me. Christian, anything you picked up on?
Well, I was just thinking that watching Rob, the way that he keeps his eyes closed and, he doesn't stop moving, it's like for the most part, these things are fun. But then when you catch those glimpses of like, oh, there's a real problem in this person's life, and I mean, he's still a terrible broadcaster. So it's
and a horrible person too, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, yeah, he did that. He did definitely celebrate a miscarriage, right? So let's never forget that.
The miscarriage of what would have been his only child sibling.
Yes, right.
He's also said the worst things he could possibly think of about my wife, and then goes, I don't know why people don't like me. I'm a very likable guy. He's such a garbage human.
And I think if Michael J. Fox watched like a minute of him, he would be like, could you just sit still? You're making me fucking nervous.
Who are these podcasts?